It is always good. It's always good to join us here right in SPRLiveFM.com, Canada's first gospel internet radio station, broadcasting through the Fun City Radio FM and the Success Radio. What you don't know is we're having a time of our lives in the terms of being able to interview some of these young people who are now grown people. People that I've known for quite decades. You watch them from a distance and then you see them finally grow up. I've had the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Myers early this week, who I'm known as a young man, and now I'm getting the opportunity to introduce another young man. And I remember when this choir first started back in 2002. Voices of Praise was founded by Kevin Adams in 2002 at Vaughan Secondary School in Ontario, Canada. It has blossomed into a continual growing professional music ministry. Kevin Adams and Voices of Praise is a praise and worship ministry that strives to be cultured and diverse, not limited to denominations, nations, or race. Praise and worship has become our first ministry. In 2016, Voices of Praise released a Caribbean demo album. In June of 2016, the ministry did their first live recording. October 7th, 2017, they released their first full album called One Church United, Phase 1. The theme was then nominated for Choir Group of the Year in Glass Awards held in Toronto, Canada in November of 2017, and was a winner for an Eddie Award for the Best Church Community Choir, which was hosted in Jacksonville, Florida. Kevin desires to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ through music as well, impact communities abroad. Voices of Praise hosts an annual event called One Church, a United Worship Experience to bring everyone together for a time of worship and praise. Their mission is to raise funds to educate families, friends, and loved ones on mental health and how we can help support those in depression, dealing with mental disabilities, anxieties, and the list goes on. I am going to stop right there and I'm going to bring the man in himself, Mr. Kevin Adams. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing well. I am remembering you back 2002 when Natalie Carpenter at the time took me over to the school and says, you got to see this group. At that time, I used to be with Gospel Music Machine on CIUT.
Mm-hmm.
That's going all the way back. That's to show you how old I am, right? All the way back. They took me across to the school and watch you guys rehearse, and I was thinking, wow. And to see you here today is indeed a joy and a pleasure having you on this program, what we call the Praise Life Morning Show, and to hear what you're actually doing. How are you, my young man? I know you're a father now. Father of how many?
Well, father of 4. Yes, I have 2 boys and 2 girls. Oh, they have lots of energy.
I know the feeling. I have 4 myself, 2 boys, 2 girls, but they're quite well spread apart. So I understand. I was about to say I understand your pain, but I understand your joys of watching them grow. Because trust me, they grew up real fast.
Yeah, they're growing, man.
So tell me a little bit. Let's go back to the beginning, 2002, when you decided that I wanted to start this choir. What was that like? What was the motivation behind it?
Well, I always had a passion for gospel music, and even when I was younger and in Vaughan, I used to do my music teacher at the time, Mark C. I used to play the saxophone and the baritone sax and the alto sax, and I was going to revival time at the time. And I was just like, there's so much black people in the school. Let's just do a gospel choir.
Right.
Didn't realize I had a gift of doing it. And then it just started blossoming from there. We used some of the students within the school, and a couple of years we did some music. We were the first Black or African American or whichever choir to close a school concert in York Region, and that was amazing. We also won the Kiwanis Festival. We won gold in that, and that was just through the high school career, and then everything stopped for a bit. And then around 2012, brought back Voices of Praise, but this time wasn't under a school. It was more so now you know, more
Independent?
local with more independent.
Right.
And I didn't have very much vision for it. Just, my wife was like, okay, let's just do something, see what happens. And we ended up doing our first live recording in 2016. And I was like, okay, let's do this, right? And it was all following the leading of the Spirit, because I had no plans for that. I had no vision for that. And it just started coming in, and the direction. We did our first live recording, and then afterwards we do another single, and then afterwards we were nominated for awards. Then we did a recent EP called Live at Global Kingdom, and we did a video for that. And I'm just watching God's hand really work and just really be instrumental and just creating this thing. And then we have this one for the Kingdom, which, so from the beginning to now, it's been quite a journey. It's been so fast as well. But God just works in mysterious ways. I never seen that. If you ask me, Kevin, do you see yourself doing all of this, being a recording artist and so forth, by this age? I would have looked at you and laughed, because I want to play basketball. So,
yeah, I think it was one of the reasons why I ended up coming by your school, because Natalie was into basketball too, so she was going to play a basketball game. I kind of dropped her off, and she told me about your choir, and I'm like, okay, when you guys bring your stuff out, we'll play it on CIUT, not a problem. I was waiting on it. But by the time you brought it out, I'd already left CIUT, because that was 2016 when you decided to come with stuff. I'd already just left actually CIUT, and then I got your stuff later on, which we added to our playlist here on Streaming Praise Radio. Now you've done all of that. You got married what year?
Got married in 2014.
2014. So that's in the middle of transitioning from school to independent, right? So after you got married, what was it like trying to revive the choir? You're now married. I mean, you have added responsibilities, and
my wife is the anchor.
Oh,
and Crystal, she's the architect behind the scenes. Like everybody sees me, but man, if it wasn't for my wife, I don't know. Like I have to give credit to where credit's due, man. Like she's our vocal arranger, she's our vocal director, and I give her the song and I give her a vision, and she just takes it
and runs
creates
it.
a masterpiece.
Right.
Yeah, she's I don't know, I can't find the words to describe her, man. She blows my mind. Even for this last one we did for the Kingdom, she blew my mind. I just released her. I said, Crystal, go. Do whatever.
I have to jump in and ask this question very quickly. I'm a little biased this way, and you have to forgive me for my biasness. Who's the Guyanese in the house? Because I seen the Guyanese map right now. Who's the Guyanese in the house?
My dad.
Your dad is Guyanese?
My dad's Guyanese. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Buxton.
From Buxton. That's me. I'm not from Buxton. I'm from Georgetown. Oh, I'm Guyanese. Yeah.
My dad. Oh yeah.
I see the Guyanese. I said, "What? The heart just put." I see the Guyanese map.
Yeah, my mom's Antiguan. So
okay.
Right.
So there's a direct mixture. And sorry, and your wife is Jamaican. So you're a complete Caribbean man.
Yes, man. That's what it is. I love soca. I love ska. I love the reggae. Yeah,
you cannot get away from it. And then your children is all Canadian too, so there's all the mix. So here's your wife is the anchor of doing all this stuff, and then you have children. That added to the mix, and that's work, because I mean, when you have a child, they never give you what you call what's it called? I was about to say pamphlet. What's the word I'm looking for? A manual. And says, this is how you raise this child. It's all figuring out as you go, because each child has its own personality, so to speak, and you have to figure that out on your own. What was that like, having now your first child, your second child, your third, and your fourth, and you're still running a choir?
My children, I could say, my Aliyah, Isaiah, Olivia, Adrian, they've been in the studio with us.
Wow.
Even the late night session, when they were babies. They're in that. They're in their car seats and everything like that, and they're in the studio with us. They're music babies, so they're music kids. Like they have their own instruments in the basement and everything. So
Wow.
they for instance, from when they're born right through, they were just really involved in the music scene. But thank goodness for grandparents, thank goodness for aunties and uncles, and extended family for pitching in and helping out, because man, some late night sessions we couldn't take the children, especially when they're just, if they're teasing or whatever,
Right.
and they don't want to stop the crying.
Right.
And but the thing is now, with the children even being engulfed in that, they're music heads now. So it's interesting to see. Both of my sons are playing drums right now, and the girls, they're playing everything, and they're just so musically inclined. If you don't hear music that sounds good, I hear it. So
Wow. So how old are your children now?
we have 11, we have 5, and we have 4 and 3. Yes, we went on a spree at the end.
Yeah.
We just had them all, and it's over. I know a lot of people are calling, oh, more children. No.
Listen, you can't say no, and if God say yes, you're done. Start.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying. If God say, I mean, especially when you're following the Lord, and you're following the lead of the Lord, and the Lord says, son, I thought I was going to tell you it's over, but I need you to be like another Joseph and bring me another 12 tribes. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
well,
I'm just saying. Listen, I'm not speaking anything into existence, but I'm just saying.
A lot of people are speaking certain things. I tell them to stop speaking it. Death and life is by the power of the tongue. Okay.
I will stop. Listen, there's something that caught my eye that I really want to talk to you about. When I was looking at it, I'm thinking this is quite interesting. Where you talked about mental health. What made you get involved with something like mental health?
I worked for Christian Horizons. In fact, well, I've been off for the past year and a half. I was hit by a car, right? So, yeah, I'm injured right now. I'm trying to get healthy.
Before we go any further about that, how are you doing? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's not really out there, but I'm recovering. It's a process. You have to deal with insurance companies, and then you have chiropractic here and physiotherapy, and it all hurts. But it's to get you back to where you need to be. And I'm going to get better. It's not a matter of...
You will.
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, we have a job to do. So I will get better. But it's on a process. It's been a year and a half now. Jeez. But I will get better. But I work for Christian Horizons, and we deal with individuals with special needs. And it's always been a passion of mine to work with youth, but in all aspects. But what I've been noticing, especially from the whole 2010 right now, mental health has really been on a rise with that whole area, and a lot of us haven't been educated on it. A lot of us haven't been are not aware of it. A lot of us couldn't really identify it, and that was one thing for me, especially, was the whole education about it. But especially this pandemic, you've really seen a heightening in that area across the board, and a lot of people really couldn't cope with being locked down, or couldn't cope with the world, quote unquote, changing, and it was a lot. We would see even in grocery stores that some people, the way how they're reacting to everything that's going on.
Would you say at this point in time, I know if you count the numbers of in terms of of COVID-19, and you count the numbers of mental health, would you say we have a pandemic when it comes to mental health, based on the balances of the two numbers worldwide?
Yeah, sometimes we can't identify it. If you want to go into basketball, Ron Artest at the time, at a World Peace, when that whole Malice in Palace happened, he escalated to that point, and it was all due to his where he was mentally, right? But a lot of people weren't educated and didn't understand what was going on with him, right? And now that this is coming out now, it's clear it's happening across the board. A lot of people, it doesn't matter if you're making millions of dollars or you're not, are struggling with that. Even I had that at one point, right? And it was the grace of God that helped me to get it rise above that. I was even put on tranquilizers, like you know what I mean.
Wow.
The type of medication was like a tranquilizer
Right.
to
Yeah.
keep me stable. But my wife was saying it was making me kind of like a zombie, so I had to get off of that, and I had to really dive into the Word and get back to being me. But the way how it can impact and how instant it is, it's just there's a lot going on all at once. We live in a real fast society. We live in a high-paced society, and part of the reason why we created this last record we did.
You know, there is certain things in life that we don't take notice of until it actually hits your home. I worked in hemodialysis for 25 years at the Toronto General Hospital, and I've seen different people come and go. You realize that a patient need a kidney transplant, or then you hear, I had a good friend of mine who passed away a couple of months ago, who was a 2-time liver recipient for liver transplant. And you kind of go along because you work in the field. You kind of go along with it. Yeah, you feel some kind of empathy for those that are going through this kind of stuff. And but this friend of mine who passed away, we became very close because of a situation where someone that I knew, whose daughter at the time was 14 months and needed a liver transplant, and the Lord called me. He says, "You're the one." You're the one, so you got to go up and do it. So I did the liver transplant in 2008, and because it became like it came that close to me, you begin to be aware of how many people are needing a transplant, whether it's for liver, kidney, whatever the case may be, and how many people are on a waiting list. So you think about that, and then you hear about mental illness, and you don't understand it because somebody says, "Oh, he's not too right in the head," but you don't know the things behind what the situation may be. You don't know why a person behaving the way to do until it hits your home. And last year was my experience of it hitting my home when my daughter came to me and says, "Dad, I'm not feeling well. This is how I feel." And she's crying, and I'm thinking, "Why are you crying? Like, what's going on?" And she can't help herself. And I realized mental illness is a real situation. And she's recovering. She's doing really well. The thing about her, what I loved about her, she understood what her situation is and took an active role in trying to understand where she's at, trying to do more studies of it, trying to see how she can help herself, not just rely on just medication but she's doing such a great job that she's educating me on mental. So when I saw that kind of grasped my attention right away, because you only get attached to things that you kind of is actually in your house, which is sad that we should be that way, but we all need to be more aware of what's happening around us. So you're right. You got to get into the Word. You got to get attached, and family support is the greatest thing ever.
Ever. The greatest thing ever.
The greatest thing ever. If you don't have a family support, and I guess that's why so many people are falling apart. So many people are having. We just recently found out that how many more young people are overdosing because they can't handle it.
This time, especially right now, I had a friend that committed suicide just a couple months ago.
Wow.
And like these things are there. It's so much happening. The pandemic heightened things. I'm going to say heightened because these things were
already
a lot
there.
of these things were there, and it is just coping. Especially people not getting getting the financial aid that they need, or not even being able to work or whatever. Those things, even things like that. The impact is so great. I could say I'm grateful for the family support, and family has really been everything. But again, some people don't have that family, and I think it's our job at times to not necessarily give them that, but show them that we're there. Right? It's tough right now. It might look like it's normal outside. I'm not too sure about that.
No.
I'm not too sure about that.
I think for some degree our focus needs to shift a little bit to what the real deal is. Yes, I understand there's COVID-19, but there's an undercurrent of some other stuff that is taking place, and that can explode unexpectedly, and we're gonna have a really either crazy nation, and I'm sorry for saying it that way, or we're gonna have a extremely sick nation mentally. So there's some crazy things could start happening, or we could have a bunch of people walking around like zombies because they're all on medication.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad that that our governments are not really paying a close attention to that, which I think they should. Now, in saying that, how much do you think music can help in that environment?
Music is freeing. Music is transforming. If I'm allowed it, can I tell the story about how we got to this last record we did?
Go right ahead, my brother. Go right ahead.
So I actually had no plans of doing anything like this. I was going to do something completely different, or just take a break. But my wife and I, we're working with a team on a totally different project, nothing close to it. And one night I went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. I feel like that's what the Lord really does his work. 3 o'clock in the morning, I just woken up and I just didn't have the drive to do it anymore. And I'm like, okay, so I don't do this record. Okay, we'll leave it alone. Look at my wife. I'm like, Crystal, do you want to do this? Like, do you really want to do this record? She's like, no. By the way, just a day before, we're so excited. Okay, so excited. But it just shifted. And it was like God just shifted us. And the one who produced the reggae, Austin Rowe Jr., he called me and oh my gosh, I'm gonna make fun of myself. So they call me Choir Man. So he's like, Choir Man, you need to do some Caribbean music. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to you. Right? I said I'll get back to you. And then throughout the weeks, I've been hearing that there needs to be joy. There needs to be celebration, like joy, celebration. We're in a lockdown. We need joy. like we're in a lockdown. We can go anywhere. We can't see anybody. Like, what do you mean? No, there needs to be joy. We needed to return back to the times of celebrating God the way how we used to. It's like we kind of went backwards, and everybody is safe in their homes, and a lot of people haven't been able to go to church.
Right.
A lot of people haven't been able to fellowship with one another, and fellowship has been very important. And it was just to bring back that reminder. So I told my team, and my team was on the same page. It was like, wow. And then we only had one song. Now this was in March, and then
March of this year.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
We only had one song in March of this year, and then I called another friend of mine in Trinidad at the time, Joshua Ali. I was like, Joshua, I have to do a soca song. He's like, on it, man. Put it together like that. Oh, my friend up here, Dario, put a song together like that, and then it started flowing. Right, the music started flowing. My wife wrote a song, Victory. She wrote that one, and things just started flowing. Started writing songs. We all even had Papa San on board. Right, wow. That one was just like, what's going on? Because we were able to share the vision with Papa San, and he just, and I didn't call him. He first texted me and like, call me right now, and I'm shaking on my boots. This is Papa San, and he bought into the vision, because across the world we're seeing a level of depression and sadness and agony, and this record for the kingdom, and I'll get to where that name came from, but this record for the kingdom is really for the kingdom. It's for the people. It's for the people to dance and celebrate again, that joy again, right? And because joy, we know what joy does, right? The Bible says the joy of the Lord is our strength. And once we feel that joy within ourselves, you can conquer depression, and we can conquer that sadness. And I've even had a friend who lost her mother, and due to this COVID-19 thing, and this record is helping her through, right? And yes, it's Caribbean and everything like that, but music in general just has that impact. So just the last thing before we move on, I was walking in Shoppers Drug Mart to get something for my wife. I didn't even know what to name the record. And I usually am good with that. I'm usually able to name something, but I had no idea what we were going to call this thing. And I was about to pick up something for my wife, and I just heard For the Kingdom. every time I talk about it, it's overwhelming because it's not something like it's the typical title for the record, but it's for the people. It's for this time, to remind us and to bring us back to that place, if it makes any sense.
Yes, it does. Right? It does.
So, how it all relates, it's to bring with mental health and everything like that. Music can inspire. Music can transform. And we're praying that our album really can inspire and transform and bring that joy that is needed, especially in this time.
Wow. I mean, that's what we call God in action. When we think that, that's enough, I don't want no more. I had the same. Listen, let me put this way to you. I put out a thought the other day because I was thinking of something. I was listening to someone speak, and then I was talking to somebody else, and then I shared with my prayer partner, and I said, the enemy's not really afraid of us per se. He's afraid of the seed that is inside of us, because once planted and it germinates, it becomes something larger and bigger than ourselves. And he don't want that seed to be planted because, once that seed is planted, he's in trouble. His works is in trouble. So he'll do every possible thing to stop you from doing what God called you to do. So he's tried, but he just simply lost. As you talk about the accent, you talk about your pressures and so forth, and here it is today. You put out something that I think is fantastic. I think it's going to make a great impact on the lives of people that are listening to it. As you said, everybody knows music changes. Think of it this way: have you ever spent amount of time back in the Caribbean, like say Jamaica, Guyana, and Antigua, and those places?
I was in Antigua in 2019, and it was great.
Well, you probably would not have noticed this as much because we used to say back home, "Mad people love music," but I don't think it's that they love music; it's what it does to them. You can have a man who's not right or mentally ill walking down the street talking to himself, and music starts to play. He'll stop and he'll stand right in front of the speaker. We used to have one guy I used to see do it. Once music, he'd be walking up and down. Once music, he stop and stand right in front of the speaker and just stay there until the music is finished. So it does something for people who are mentally ill. It is a calming, especially the type of music playing too. It's calming, it's revitalizing. And I believe God has allowed you to experience these different fragments of your life, these different areas of your life, these different pockets, as we would say, good or bad, to bring together, to infuse it into an album that will now go out to the world and minister to people who needs this. And the thing is, music is like an extension of you and whoever else is involved, because then what you put into it extends to the world. I heard a story by the bass, not the bass player, the engineer who was engineering at the time for Bob Marley. And you know that you're probably too young for that too. There was a period of time when those guys, when they're doing the reggae dance, they lift the one leg. And nobody lift the one leg and I bounce around. Nobody did it at the time. And he says, I watched the bass player playing the bass and he's lifting the leg and jumping around. At the time, he says, nobody did it. He said, when that song started to play in a dance hall in a studio, it's like if that spirit just went. He said, this is when I recognize how much a spirit in a song affects people. He said, yes, people in the dance hall were dancing and lifting the leg, and nobody saw him doing that in the studio, and nobody never did that before. I'm like, really? He said, yeah. And he says, since then, he became a Christian. He says, since then, I've understand that music has a spirit. And sometimes whatever you put into the music, that's what transfers to the people. And I'm glad the Holy Spirit is in you with all that music you're putting out, that it is for the kingdom. And I appreciate you coming on board and telling us all about this morning. Hey, we got somebody who wants to come in and chat with us. Let's see if we can bring him in. Good morning.
What's going on, sir?
Blessings. I hope Mr. Clairmont knows I don't like to come in on people's interview, but
hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Good to see you, Mr. Adams. Good to see you, Mr. Adams. I've been just listening to the interview. I actually have a day off today, so I've been listening to the interview, and it's a pleasure. Congratulations on the new album that we've been blazing here in the studio. And it's indeed, when I heard it, I'm like, this is a different So the theme, and you're right, rejoice. We need that. We definitely need that, and that's totally how I felt when I was able to get my hands on a couple of the tracks a couple of weeks ago. Definitely, you cannot stay still, and it's not the time to stay still anymore. But we gotta remember the first love, man, and allow that joy to strengthen us. We gotta, So congratulations on that, you and the team.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's always a pleasure, man. It's always a pleasure, and you know what? As he spoke about DJ, you know that this weekend is going to be, actually tomorrow is going to be a different. Tomorrow's Saturday, right? Yeah, tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking with my boys. We're talking about some stuff, and this might come up to the mental health issue and the music. Of course, both my boys are musical guy. Clairmont the second, he's the last boy, the third child, last boy, is very much up there in the music field, and so is his brother. They're both professional musicians and doing their thing. So I can see your children coming along that way, sir. I said, well, that's how mine started. I can see yours coming along that way as well.
All right, yeah, good to go with that.
Listen, man, I want to say a pleasant good morning to your wife. Where is your wife? Can she come on and say hi to us?
She's right now at work.
Oh, she's at work. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we want to say, as you've been bigging her up, and you say she's the helm of the garment. She's the one that pulls everything together, and she, as my mother says, she's like the Rock of Gibraltar. You stand on her.
Man, she's my wife. I love my wife, but she blows my mind with her creativity and everything. I'm creative. I have some skills. I can do some stuff, but she just takes it and takes it to another level. And I just sit back and just hold my arms. I just like, go ahead, baby, go ahead.
Can we go somewhere?
Yes.
Go ahead, DJ.
No, just about to say that, when I heard that you the nickname Choir Boy, that's gonna stick. I'm gonna remember that.
Choir man.
Not choir boy. Get it right.
Oh Lord. I still in the hand. Yeah. I hope you don't lose that nickname with this album, because I'm like, what? I mean, I said he's really showing the Caribbean roots in him. So when I look on the layout of that, and I'm like, wow, things really took a good turn, and I hope the conventional way of that you've made music, that you haven't really gotten any sort of surprising comments from people, because they're accustomed to that praise and worship style. I mean, this is another praise and worship on a different genre, so to speak. So I don't know if you can share what that kind of feedback has been like, if there have been any, in terms of the reception of this album. Not like it matters, but I'm just curious.
Well, to be very honest, it's been people have their own opinions of things. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own opinions of things, but for what I've known, a lot of people are jamming, man. A lot of people are playing it in their cars. A lot of people are celebrating. Some people, I don't know what's going on. I don't know how they feel about it. And not to be mean, but I don't really care. And the reason why I don't really care, because I'm watching people who are in depression and who are in sadness. They're coming out. People who've lost loved ones just due to this whole COVID-19. They're playing Wave Offering. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they're playing He's the Sweetest Name, and that they have the victory. Don't bother them with the negativity and so forth. And it shows our sense of humor, and it shows everything like that, and it shows the joy behind it and everything, and the Caribbean side. But I'm about the souls, man. I'm about the lives.
Yeah.
And I don't. If lives are not impacted, I don't want to do it. That's just what it is. So I mean, everybody, professionally, Kevin, I haven't really heard you do something like this before. Where did that come from? Well, I went to Revival Time, and I went to Light and Life Ministries for a bit. I have Caribbean parents. A lot of us in the GTA are Caribbean, so I'm just doing what I grew up on, right? And what my dad used to play and everything like that. So this is not like it's because we haven't done it. It's not in us. It's in us, right? And it was a joy doing this project. Warfare at the same time. When we were speaking about how the enemy likes to attack for the seed, man, from me, all my singers, producers, everybody was under attack doing this project. So this project has to do what it's supposed to do. The keyword supposed to do for the kingdom of God and for the people, and even those the unsaved and everything. I want the unsaved. I want them impacted. I want them to draw nearer to God, right? So I mean, for those in the field who, if they disagree or whichever.
Well, listen. As I tell you, if you had such a kind of an impact happening to your people, to the team, and everything else, God has something in store for this album, and I really want to thank you. But don't go. I just want to throw into a couple of stuff here before we come off air. DJ, what's happening tonight?
It's another opportunity tonight, Friday night, the Save Zone Gospel Music Mix right here in SPL Live FM. And the theme that we have, reviving you into rejoicing and dancing, is very fitting. It's been the theme here because we don't want people to stay in the state that they are if they're low, feeling downcast. And so that's where the theme for the show, the Save Zone Gospel Music Mix, came from. The sub-slogan, I should say, reviving you onto rejoicing and dancing. We're going to stay in that mode until Jesus comes.
Amen.
We know how things are not going to get much any better. So we got to stay in that mode of revival, rejoicing and dancing. What are we going to rejoice to and dance to? Music.
That's right. That's
so
right.
Tonight at 8 p.m. Join us lock in right here on SPLivefm.com.
All right, and also I want the folks to know tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on SPR Live or Streaming Praise Radio
YouTube
channel. I am talking to you and I'm doing some other things here at the same time. In the YouTube channel, we're going to be myself and my boys are going to be talking about us. We're going to be talking about us. It's going to be all about us.
Humphrey Boys, real talk. Honest and open discussion.
There you go. Thank you so much, DJ. I was trying to pull something in here, but I can't find it, and I thought I had it, and oh well. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's tomorrow at 7 p.m. Brian, Kevin, tell us how folks can get in contact with your music.
You can search Kevin Adams, The Voices of Praise on Spotify, Apple Music. As well, you can get the album off of our website at kabpmusic.com. And it's also on YouTube, available for streaming. So, yeah.
Awesome. Anything YouTube? Go to the YouTube page again.
Yeah. So YouTube, you just search Kevin Adams and Voices of Praise, and Before the Kingdom project will be there as well.
All right, perfect.
You can play it on YouTube.
Perfect. I really wanted to end with this song here. Tell me if you guys can hear it. This is a song that has been on my mind.
All right, everybody, put those hands together. VP, let's go. Yeah.
Folks, it's that time. We're going to chop out of here. I want to thank Kevin again. I want to thank DJ for stopping by. Again, tomorrow in the 7 p.m. evening time right here on the same YouTube channel, you'll see me and my boys are going to be here. But Kevin, thank you so much for being a part of us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for sharing your heart. I'm going to request you to come back again. This is my call to you to come back again and share, especially about mental health. Especially, that's something I think we need to talk a little bit more about. We didn't get a chance to explore, and you may have a little bit more information than I do. So I'm going to leave DJ Analyst to arrange that to bring you back in again, so we can talk a little bit more on how one can help, especially in this season that we're going through. Strange enough, a lot of our own Christian believers are also suffering from that too, in a huge way, a very, very huge way. And I think we need to do something about that if we can. So Kevin, if you can make yourself available, talk to DJ Analyst. Let's make a date. Let's talk about it. All right?
All right, for sure.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. And we will talk to you soon.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.